Hi Mark, I'm Peggy, and my student number is S0441028, and I'm a freshman. Ron Finley, a guerrilla gardener in South Central LA. I live in South Central. This is South Central. Liquor stores, fast food, vegan nuts. So the city planners, they get together and they figure they're going to change the name South Central to make it represent something else. So they change it to Los Angeles. Like this is going to fix what's really going wrong in the city. This is South Los Angeles. Laughter. Liquor stores, fast food, fake nuts. Just like 26.5 million other Americans, I live in food desert. South Central Los Angeles, home of the drive-through and the drive-by. Funny thing is, the drive-thrus are killing more people than the drive-bys. People are dying from curable diseases in South Central Los Angeles. For instance, the obesity rate in my neighborhood is five times higher than, say, Beverly Hills, which is probably 8-10 miles away. I got tired of seeing this happening, and I was wondering, how would you feel if you had no access to healthy food? If every time you walk out your door you see all the ill effects that a present food system has on your neighborhood. I see wheelchairs built and sold like used cars. I see dialysis centers popping up like Starbucks, and I figured this has to stop. So I figured that the problem is the solution. Food is the problem and the food is the solution. Plus, I got tired of driving 45 minutes round trip to get an apple that wasn't impregnated with pesticides. So what I did, I planted a food forest in front of my house. It was on a strip of land that we call a parkway. It's 150 feet by 10 feet. Thing is, it's owned by the city, but you have no man to maintain it. So I'm like, cool, I can do whatever the hell I want, since it's my responsibility and I gotta maintain it. And this is how I decided to maintain it. So me and my group, LA Green Grounds, we got together and we started planting my food forests, fruit trees, the whole nine, vegetables. What we do, we are a paid forward kind of group, where it's composed of gardeners from all walks of life, from all over the city, and it's completely volunteer. And everything we do is free. And the garden, it was beautiful. And then somebody complained. The city came down on me and basically gave me a citation saying that I had removed my garden, which this citation was turning into a warrant. And I'm like, come on, really? A warrant of planting food on a piece of land that you could care less about? Laughter. And I was like, cool, bring it. Because this time it wasn't coming up, so LA Times got a hold of it. Steve Lobbs did a story on it and talked to the councilman, and one of the Green Ground members. They put up a petition on Change.org, and with 900 signatures, we're a success. We had a victory on our hands. My councilman even called in and said how they endorse and love what we're doing. I mean, come on, why wouldn't they? LA leads the United States in vegan nuts that the city actually owns. They own 26 square miles of vegan nuts. That's 20 Central Parks. That's enough space to plant 725 million tomato plants. Why in the hell would they not okay this? Growing one plant will give you 10,000 cents, when $1 worth of green beans will give you $75 worth of produce. It's my gospel. When I'm telling people, grow your own food, growing your own food is like printing your own money. Applause. See, I have legacy in South Central. I grew up there. I raised my son there. And I refuse to be a part of this manufactured reality that was manufactured for me by some other people. And I'm manufacturing my own reality. See, I'm an artist. Gardening is my graffiti. I grow my art, just like a graffiti artist. Really beautifully was. Me, I beautify lawns, parkways. I use the garden, the soil, like it's a piece of cloth, and the plants and the trees. That's my embellishment for that cloth. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what the soil could do if you let it be your canvas. You just couldn't imagine how amazing the sunflower is and how it affects people. So what happened? I have witnessed my garden become a tool for the education, a tool for the transformation of my neighborhood. To change the community, you have to change the composition of the soil. We are the soil. You'd be surprised how kids are affected by this. Gardening is the most therapeutic and defiant act you can do, especially in the inner city. Plus, you get strawberries. Laughter. I remember this time. There was this mother and a daughter came. It was like 10:30 at night. And they were in my yard. And I came out and they looked so ashamed. So I'm like, man, it made me feel bad that they were there. And I told them, you don't have to do this like this. This is on the street for a reason. It made me feel ashamed to see people that were this close to me and were hungry. And it's only reinforced why I do this. And people ask me, Finn, aren't you afraid people are going to steal your food? I'm like, hell no. I ain't afraid they're gonna steal it. That's why it's on the street. That's a whole idea. I want them to take it. But at the same time, I want them to take back their health. There's another time when I put a garden in this homeless shelter in downtown Los Angeles. These are the guys. They helped me unload the truck. It was cool, and they just shared stories about how this affected them and how they used to plan with their mother and their grandmother. And it was just cool to see how this changed them, if it was only for that one moment. So Green Grounds has gone on to plant maybe 20 gardens. We've had like 50 people come to our diligence and participate. And it's all volunteers. If kids grow kale, kids eat kale. Laughter. If they grow tomatoes, they eat tomatoes. Applause. But when none of this is presented to them, if they're not shown how food affects the mind and the body, they blindly eat whatever the hell you put in front of them. I see young people and they want to work, but they are in this thing where they're caught up. I see kids of color and they're just on this track that is designed for them, and leads them to nowhere. So with gardening, I see an opportunity where we can train these kids to take over their communities, to have a sustainable life. And when we do this, who knows? We might produce the next George Washington Carver. But if we don't change the composition of the soil, we will never do this. Now this is one of my plans. This is what I want to do. I want to plant a whole block of gardens where people can share in the food in the same block. I want to take shipping containers and turn them into healthy cafes. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about no free shit. Because free is not sustainable. The funny thing about sustainability, you have to sustain it. Laughter, applause. What I'm talking about is putting people to work and getting kids off the street and letting them know the joy, the pride and the honor as growing your own food, opening farmers markets. So what I want to do here, We gotta make this sexy. So I want us all to become evolutionary renegades, gangsta gardeners. We gotta flip the script on what a gangsta is. If you ain't a gardener, you ain't gangsta. Get gangsta with your shovel, okay? And let be your weapon of choice. Applause. So basically, if you want to meet with me, if you want to meet, don't call me if you want to sit around in kosher chairs and have meetings where you talk about doing some shit. If you want to meet with me, come to the garden with your shovel so we can plant some shit. Peace. Thank you. Applause. Thank you. Applause.